Good afternoon, and welcome to It's All About You. In today's program, we have a very special guest here, Mr. Andy Purvis.
How are you, KD?
I'm
Good to see you, buddy.
Blessed to be here. I mean, it's an honor to shake the hand of the man who shook Muhammad Ali.
Did you like that?
Yes, I did.
One of the stories in the new book, I got a chance to meet Muhammad Ali back 1994 in Houston at the convention center. He was signing autographs, and I knew it was his birthday that month, but I didn't remember the date.
Okay.
So as I'm waiting in line there, I'm next. I've got a pair of white Everlast trunks like he fought in with the black stripes and a book that he had written. And I looked over at him. I said, "Happy birthday, champ." And he just smiled real big. And so I started singing "Happy Birthday" to you, and I pointed. And before you know it, the whole auditorium was singing "Happy Birthday."
I bet he loved that.
He did. He did. It was special.
One thing about that story I read about Muhammad Ali, it teaches a lesson called never give up.
Yeah.
Because George Foreman gave up 1 second quicker than Muhammad Ali did.
Yeah. The story goes, I interviewed Angelo Dundee on the radio show years later, and sure enough, Ali was ready to stop. I mean, he'd had enough. And before Angelo could do anything, George Foreman, they threw the towel in from his corner, and Ali won the championship. And just a remarkable life.
Yes, it was.
To go through, raised in Louisville as a kid, and the Olympics, 1960. I mean, that's when I really started knowing who this kid was, and then to go through all the trials and tribulations of the Vietnam War. Right. And at the end, he turned out to be a religious icon. I mean, the guy was unbelievable. People just flocked to him.
And that last statement you talk about on that story, what did you say in that last statement?
Well, supposedly during the fight, he leaned over to Foreman as they were in a clinch, and he said, "Is that all you got?" And it gives me chills just to think about that, because I likened the fact that maybe the good Lord used Ali's time to leave us as a time to help heal our nation, and we need some of that.
Yes, we do.
And maybe we should all be listening. Is that all you got? Because we all need to get better. We all need to do better.
Okay. Now let's talk about Andy. Okay. Now you've been writing books for quite a while. This is about your 8th, 9th book.
Actually, it's 10 total. 10. But 6 of them have been published by Zulon Press. All the Greatness series, I call them. The great, because as you mentioned before we started, all the books have the word greatness in it.
Yes.
Yeah. The first 4 books, a couple were done on baseball with my radio partner, Shane Nelson, who was an NFL player, but he didn't know anything about baseball, so I created a little 5 or 6 minute read to talk about baseball. And then I wrote about my mom, who died in 2000. Okay. And then I wrote about my dad. And everybody should do that. Everybody should keep those family stories alive. And my dad used to say, KD, somebody's going to hold up your picture one day, and some little girl's going to say, "Who's that, Mom?" I'm going to say, "That's your great, great, great Uncle KD, and let me tell you about him." So it's important to have those family stories.
I know we did a documentary on my mother. It's on YouTube, and all the grandkids, they can go look her up to hear her voice.
Oh, I know. Isn't it amazing?
I think every family should either put it on paper or video or something so it can be passed on.
You just said something very enlightening. The voice never changes.
Yes.
Whether you're 5 years old or whether you're 55, 60 years old and she's, leaving, the voice never changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, this Saturday, you will be at Auvil Sweet Nothing.
Auvil Sweet Nothing, right here at 517 Everhart, right across the street from Fleet Feet. We're right next to Alameda, almost. Right. And I'm going to be here Saturday. It's the day before Father's Day, 16th. 1 till 3, I'll be signing my new book, Greatness Above the Noise.
Okay.
And I'll have all 6 books, all the 6 books, greatness books here. And there's over 300 athletes, coaches, and broadcasters that I've had a chance to read about. The goal was to keep their memories alive. They've all passed away. About 68 to 70% of them I've met in person, so these are my stories. I purposefully write the inspirational side. I do not write about steroids, cheating on your taxes, DUIs. We'll let the media do that. They do a
positive.
Exactly. I want to tell you the story behind the story, how they got to be great, the intense commitment it takes, hours and hours in the gym. You just don't roll out of bed on Christmas Day and hit 400 or make 12 threes or run 2 touchdowns back. There's some work involved.
Yeah, put your dues in. Now tell me, how did you get involved in doing stories about athletes?
Actually, it all started for me long before I ever thought about writing. I've always been around athletes. I went to high school with Pete Maravich. I delivered papers to Roman Gabriel, who at that time was going to North Carolina State. He was quarterback, later played with the Rams. I lived down the street from a guy named John Baker, Big John Baker, 6'7", 290, African-American guy, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he's the one, KD, that tackled Y.E. Tittle in that famous picture. I think it might be the only sports picture to win the Pulitzer Prize.
Okay.
It's called The Fallen Giant. He's on his knees. It's black and white. His helmet's off. He's bleeding. He's got cracked ribs. He's just thrown an interception. The Steelers have won. And the story behind that was that he asked Tittle permission to use that photo, and he ran for sheriff in North Carolina. He became the first African-American sheriff in the state of North Carolina. Wow. And he used that photo, and it said, "If you break the law, this is what John Baker will do to you." Isn't that a great story?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, also, I understand that your books are nationwide, New York City.
Yeah.
They had a big signing going on. And tell me about this picture here.
Well, it's called the BEA. It stands for Books Exposition of America. It was May 30th through June the 2nd. My publisher called me and said that they had gathered the heads of their departments together to determine if there were any books that they thought needed some national exposure. And they decided to use my book in a banner. And apparently all the book buyers in the country go to this books exposition, and hopefully I sold some books. I don't know. I told my wife, she said, what will happen? I said, I really don't know, other than somebody else noticed my work, like you did. You know, that's really the humbling part here.
It's a great book. It's a great book. Not only is it for sports, because I'm more of a musician,
right,
music person.
I had somebody ask me one time, have you ever considered writing about musicians? And I said, I just haven't really met any music. I don't have the personal stories that I like.
Okay, well, I can be your first one then.
But to answer your question a while ago, so I've been in the restaurant business for 37 years. As a Pizza Hut franchisee, I got to mix and mingle with a lot of high-ups with Miller Brewing Company, Anheuser-Busch, Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, General Mills, AT&T. These are the guys that put on these events.
Yes.
So not only did I get to go to the Super Bowl or the NBL, whatever, I got to go to the pregame parties. I got to go to the postgame parties. That's where I met a lot of my heroes. I got to play golf with some of them. I got to have lunch with some had dinner. I played golf with Ray Nitschke in Hawaii.
What a life.
I played golf with L.C. Greenwood in Florida. I played golf with Pete Rose in Dallas. It's just amazing what I've been able to do in 35 years, and that's basically. So my radio show, I got a media pass, and then my connections through my business, I was able to attend a lot of different events.
Okay, now speaking of radio show, I understand you have a radio show here in Corpus Christi.
My partner and I, Dennis Quinn and I, have a show called Dennis and Andy's Q&A. We're on Thursday nights, 6 to 7, on K6. It's Sports Radio Corpus Christi, 12:30 a.m., 95.1, 96.1 FM.
So what do they call and ask you questions?
Yeah, well, actually, we cover primarily baseball because we only have a 1-hour show and it's hard to do all the sports. We'll answer any question, but basically what we do is interviews. This week we'll be talking to Alex Bregman. Okay. Last week we talked to J.D. Davis with the Boston Red Sox and Carlos Correa. The week before that, I talked with with Mark Danoff with the Islanders here locally, who's starting their basketball camps, and a guy named Mark Foster, who's heading up the Youth Sailing Championships of the World coming to Corpus Christi in July. So we do local interviews and national interviews.
Once again, you will be Saturday, the 16th,
Right.
at Auvil, Sweet Nothing.
That's this coming Saturday, day before Father's Day, 1 to 3. If you miss the event, you can go to purvisebooks.com, find out everything you want to know about my books, or you can go to Barnes & Noble. I've had 6 book signings at Barnes & Noble. All my books are available over there on the shelves, but we prefer you come right here.
So basically, for Father's Day, I know most fathers have enough ties in their closet on the tie rack. Everybody want to
I
get
don't know if they got one nice like that, though.
But I better have a book like this here than have a tie for Father's Day.
Well, my friends say, well, I don't read as much as I used to. I said, these are easy. They're 8, 10 pages. You've read them. The print is big, so you don't have to squint. And you can pick it up, read a story in 5 or 10 minutes, put it down. But what it's going to do, it's going to take you back.
Yeah.
And you're going to remember something different than what I remember.
And in fact, it took me, when I was reading the story about Muhammad Ali and Frazier, I said, I'm going back to the YouTube channel and watch the fight again.
There you go.
And I saw where Frazier gave up.
Yeah.
On the video. It's on there.
Just in this book alone, Muhammad Ali, Arnold Palmer, Pat Summitt, one of the greatest women's basketball coaches ever. She could have been a men's basketball coach easily. Gordie Howell, if you like hockey. Joe Garagiola, Jim Bunning, Tommy Nobis, one of the great linebackers from University of Texas. Ara Parseghian, Craig Sager. Great story about introducing my grandson to Craig Sager at an NBA Spurs game. Craig sat to my left. My grandson got a autograph and stuff with him. He was just the nicest guy you could believe.
Basketball players in there too.
Oh yeah. Pearl Washington's in here. Nate Thurman. You talking about a rough house. But you will be surprised because you will not realize most of them have passed away. And you'll be amazed at how quickly we lose these people and nobody talks about them. And that's how all this started. Mickey Mantle was my guy. Growing up in Raleigh, North Carolina. 1995, Mickey passed away in August. And the crawl ran on the bottom of the ESPN. Mickey Mantle dies today. And, that was it. And I go, how could this be? So I had a chance to see Mickey play as a 13-year-old kid. I had a chance to talk to him, meet him 2 or 3 times. And I might have one of the last autographs he ever signed. I'll tell you that story later.
Okay.
But anyway, that's why I do this.
So on June the 16th, come by and meet the man who shook the hand, Muhammad Ali.
There you go.
How can they get a hold of you later on? In case somebody's not in town, what can they find you?
Purvisebooks.com should have my Facebook and my email address and my phone number, but it's email is purvis.andy@mygrande.net. And I have a lot of my high school friends buy my books, and so I'll be glad to send them to you signed. If there's not a show and you want one signed, give me a call. We'll work it out. Send me a check. I'll sign a book, send it back to you. There you go. Well, that's nice of you.
So come on by Auvil, Sweet Nothing, on the corner of Alameda and Everhart.
Did you see who wrote on the back for me? Will Bullard, Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah.
Look what he writes. I did not know until this day about Meadowlark Lemon and his upbringing. He thanked me for telling him about Meadowlark Lemon in one of my books. Hicks Green, halfback for the 1963 Texas Longhorns, first championship for Texas. Michael Coffin, the broadcaster over here for the Hooks. This guy's going to be a major league broadcaster before it's over. And Willis Wilson, our local basketball coach right here. Look what he writes. What an excellent story and tribute to my all-time great sports hero, Muhammad Ali. I really enjoyed reading your words, and as I read each paragraph, I could not wait for what was to come next. You did a marvelous job capturing the real Ali, bigger than life, flawed yet comforting and relatable. He was truly the greatest. I only wish these current generations of young people could have lived to witness his life like we did. It was an honor to read Greatness Above the Noise.
Yes, it was. I second that. Once again, we want to thank you for being our guest.
Thank you very much.
It's all about you.